we go. Brass got me in the head. There we go. This thing shoots like a dream. Now my channel might mainly be a gaming channel, but I do love some history and working with some actual firearms. And it's been a great year for World War II games. You've got games like Postscriptum, Hell Let Loose, and Battlefield 5 bringing the Americans to battle once again in some really, really great games. So today, we're gonna take this US rifle, caliber 30, model M1, more commonly known as the Garand, and we're gonna put some lead down range. So we got some enemy targets. Let's go see what it can do. The Garand is, of course, chambered in 30-06. You just load the M-block clip right in the top, and watch your thumb, and you're good to go. Safety's already off. Let's see if I can put one right into the helmet. So we should be zeroed for 200. The answer is yes. Yes, I can. I know what you guys are here for, just the ping. The biggest advantage that this rifle had in World War II compared to the frontline rifles of other major nations was the fact that it is semi-automatic. It's self-loading. The clip system is a little bit awkward. That is kind of an archaic holdover. The generals in the Army were afraid that soldiers would lose magazines if it was magazine fed, but that proved to be a silly excuse to keep it clip fed, because you had rifles like the M1 carbine that, you know, the soldiers kept the magazines just fine. And they were also worried about having an open magazine well in the dirt that debris would get into the rifle. But that's extra hilarious to me because the Garand's action is open top. I mean, you already have a completely open action. What's one more hole for the magazine? But the clips do work pretty well, even if they're not quite fast. And occasionally rounds do get out of alignment, like that one there. So that won't feed unless let's go ahead and pop a round out. Got to get it lined up in the back of the clip. There we go. If the rounds aren't straight on the front, they'll get caught up on the mouth of the chamber. All right. You do want that last round to be on the right side for loading. See if I can do this without getting Garand thumb where the bolt catches my finger. There we go. So, let's move a bit, see how fast it can shoot. Safety's off, here we go. A headshot for the ping, I couldn't resist. Let's find that clip. I will say, the Army's concerns about losing magazines, you didn't really have to worry about losing these clips. These things are just stamped metal. I mean, I imagine there's thousands of these just all over Europe and all over the Pacific still. I want that one back though. Even though this rifle is 30-06, it is a huge round. I got an extra one here, you guys can see. That is an absolutely massive cartridge. This thing has almost no recoil for me because the rifle itself weighs around 10 pounds before the clip is loaded. So recoil management is not bad at all. As you guys can see, I have a reproduction cartridge belt here. I learned some interesting stuff about how the ammo was sent to US soldiers. Because they could fire 50, 60 rounds a minute during a firefight, as long as they were well supplied, the ammo would show up pre-filled into the clips with these cardboard protectors. So you get a box of ammo, you can just load and go. Just watch out for that bolt. We've got 2 soda bottles and a cinder block to see what these rounds, even just the full metal jackets, can do. That was a hit. Going for the cinder block. I saw a dust cloud and the cinder block is gone. Let's go find that second bottle. There we go. He was hiding behind the zombie. That took care of that. Now, it's a common misconception that you can't top off a clip. See if I can get this one. Just keep the charging handle, the operating rod pulled back. Just load your spare rounds right into the clip. It feels so odd to say clip correctly. And then let it chamber. So you can absolutely top load your M-block clip inside of the Garand. Looks like 7 targets. Might have enough ammo for that. Let's do a press check. 1 in the chamber. Safety off. Cinder block. Zombie. Oh, the spark. Now we're out. Gotta get one more on paper. And going for that headshot again. All right. Now you can actually clear out an unfinished clip, lock it open, hit the eject button, and watch all your rounds disappear into the leaves. We got a paper target at about 75 yards, so I'm gonna see what kind of grouping I can get with just 8 rounds. There we go. Let's see what we can do. Gonna aim a little low on the center diamond. I pulled to the right on that one. I immediately knew when I pulled those 2 to the right, anticipation, but I was aiming right here. I had a 3 walk like this and 3 walk like this. So this is definitely zeroed for 200 yards. The front post is pretty thick on the M1. I love the iron sights, but even at this distance, the front post covers like that much of the target. Still though, what a workhorse of a rifle. It's a fantastic shooter. Let's talk for just a minute about the Garand rifle and then this rifle in particular. Now I call it a Garand because that's the common pronunciation for it. Everybody called it the Garand. I'm having to catch myself here because the French-Canadian designer, Garand, didn't really mind that people mispronounce his name, but now that I've heard it, it's hard for me to not call it Garand. Now this rifle in particular is a borrowed one, and it's been refurbished quite a bit actually, as you guys can tell. Very beautiful replacement walnut stock. And we'll show you guys some up-close footage of the receiver itself here, because this was from the civilian marksmanship program, and it was in really, really rough shape. Lots of pitting on the receiver, lots of rust, but the owner, the previous owner, took it, had it reparkerized to protect the metal, and rebarreled with a brand new barrel. And then he had it zeroed with the new stock on it, and it really is a fantastic shooter, as you guys are seeing during our shooting segments here in the video. This one is actually a Springfield Armory though, and it's right about the 1.4 million mark as far as serial numbers go. So that puts it, I want to say 43. I looked it up, I believe it was 43. Let's take the Garand out to a 100, 200, and 300 yard range and see what these iron sights can do at some much longer distances. All right. I keep wanting to do a C-clamp grip and then you can't see the iron sights. Just to the right. Oh, it tried. It tried. These clips are just real, maybe thankfully for me, they're real finicky right now. Because that definitely tried to get my thumb. You kind of have to put the front post below the target and then just bring it up, because it basically occludes the target completely, even at 200. That was a solid hit. All right. I think I'm gonna go for 300. I think the front post is a good, like 40% wider than the target at 300. It completely disappears. Hit. Nice. Awesome. Hit. The delay on that. I think I might have pushed a little bit against it.
Hit, dude.
I cheated, I held on the left side. This is a long stroke piston operation, and originally it had a gas trap there at the top. Now it's a more traditional gas tube system. The reason that it's chambered in 30-06 though is kind of interesting. It's because the Army simply had so much 30-06 ammunition left over from the Springfield 1903. So although the cartridge that this rifle was originally being designed for was not the 30-06, in true military fashion, much like avoiding jumping right to a magazine, they wanted to stick to what they knew and what they had on hand. And it is funny, this rifle was so far ahead of its time, and yet its successor, its baby brother, the M14, would mainly just download the cartridge to a slightly smaller round, 308, and add that box magazine. Just to compare the action of the little brother, we'll do 100 yards as well. Let's try 200. Hit. The M1A definitely proves that you don't need 30-06, even though the 30-06 on the Garand, I mean, does not feel bad at all, but 308 holds up just fine, and adding a scope is cheating. It's so easy. I really feel like my thumbs are just a lot safer with this rifle. So, and of course, it wouldn't be a World War II themed video unless we brought out the 1911. What about 5.3 million of these were made in total, and they were used on through the Korean War and well after both World War II and the Korean War by a number of US allies, and eventually even enemies. These were so popular and worked so well that they've shown up in Afghanistan in the hands of the Taliban even. And lots of other countries who have purchased these from the US are still using them in some capacity for different uses, definitely ceremonial uses too. These are still quite popular as ceremonial rifles just because, I mean, everybody knows the Garand. It is unmistakable when you see one. So if you keep your thumb on the top round and get it all the way in, again, these clips are a little stiff, shouldn't cut your thumb. There you go. There goes the helmet. What a rifle. And hey, good. And of course you have the ping legend. I think everybody knows that this is just an urban legend at this point, but soldiers were actually worried during the war that the sound of their clip ejecting, you know, and hitting the metal of the receiver and making the ping sound would alert the enemy, oh, that guy's empty. They actually interviewed German soldiers after the war, and they said that in the chaos of battle, these are, you know, 30-06 rifles. There's artillery going off. No one can hear anything. And if somehow you had heard that clip ejecting, making the ping, hitting the ground, odds are the guy's got a whole squad out there. You're not going to charge somebody because he's briefly empty. And with that bolt hold open, he's going to be loading his ammo for the next clip fast. So yeah, the ping sound being a danger to soldiers was mostly an urban legend. But I think it is interesting that the soldiers did actually, though, worry about that. I imagine that hearing that on the range made you wonder, is that a sign to the enemy that I'm empty? The range is getting rid of one of their pistol dueling tree targets, so we're going to see what the Garand can do to it at 100 yards. It has those flipper plates that go back and forth. Should be fun. Yeah, you got it. Okay, now did I hit lower left or second?
I don't know.
I blew that one off the tree. So that one swings no more. Yeah, so I'm holding like one entire plate low. I think I might have shot a piece of that one off. All right, so hold one entire plate low. And there goes another one. All right, I'm gonna leave some for somebody else. That's a good final shot. I didn't think a dueling tree at 100 yards could be so much fun, but it is. The key thing to remember is when checking your steel targets, always lick your hands clean afterwards. Yeah, you were right. We were flipping them around so fast that you couldn't even see them come back. I hope you guys have enjoyed this look at one of the most classic American rifles out there. Big thank you to everybody over on Patreon. Your support directly helps this channel and makes projects like this possible. A thank you to Joel for doing our filming today. Make sure to check out his film project at normanthefilm.com. For now, again, hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.